Hating on JJ Redick after the impact he's had on the Lakers already would be childish. He's been phenomenal for this team. He's somehow gained the respect of the locker room, which is something countless previous Lakers coaches couldn't do. So I'm not going to hate on him. But what I will do is shed light on a mistake he's currently making. A mistake that, if not fixed, could single-handedly annihilate all the momentum he's created for his team during the first half of the season. Here's a chart that shows every NBA team's defensive field goal percentage this year. You've probably never seen this stat, but it basically measures how effectively a team defends against an opponent's shooting anywhere on the court. Here's how it's calculated for any math nerds out there. The Lakers' current starting lineup with Luka ranks 17th in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage, and of the 13 teams in their competitive range, only 3 have a winning record, and collectively, a combined winning percentage of just 40%. Now do me a favor and take a look at the top 8 teams on this chart. You'll notice, they're all the best teams in the league. This chart is so valuable because it makes it clearer than ever that good teams force their opponents into misses at an above average clip, and bad teams do the exact opposite. And this new look Lakers team finds themselves in the bad team category solely thanks to this abomination of a starting lineup. This lineup is flawed for a couple big reasons that I'll get into, but the good news is, I've discovered a hypothetical starting lineup that would transform the Lakers from a statistically bad defensive team to the second best defensive team in the league, just by moving around players that are already on our roster. But before I reveal what that lineup is, stop taking my word for all this and let me show you what's wrong with JJ's new starters. The first reason why this starting lineup will lead us nowhere is because of the inability to rotate quickly on the defensive end. This was Luka's second game against the Jazz where we got blown out. And every player on the court for the Lakers is a defensive liability in their own way. Immediately, LeBron is behind the offense, which creates a 5-on-4 on the backside, so we're already kind of cooked. LeBron doesn't recover, Rui Hachimura has to help. Luka Doncic here should be in a defensive stance, getting ready to either flash to Lauri Markkanen or flash to Isaiah Collier, but he's standing flat-footed with no chance of recovering. So boom, the pass gets off, and then Austin Reaves leaves his man because he's worried about Markkanen's three-point threat, and you get a 7-footer on Rui Hachimura 3 feet from the basket. It's GG's every time. In that second game versus the Jazz, this starting lineup played 11 minutes together and allowed 33 points. That is way too much, especially for one of the worst teams in the league. The only player with high defensive IQ on this court is LeBron, and his age and need to preserve himself on the court limits what he can actually do on defense. We already saw target hunting from the Jazz. Watch how Lauri Markkanen is pulling Jackson Hayes out of the paint to expose the Lakers' lack of rim protection in this starting lineup. Jordan Clarkson has Luka Doncic, who's basically a cone on defense in front of him, so obviously he's going to burst by him, and because Lauri Markkanen's pulling Jackson Hayes out of the paint, you have a 40-year-old LeBron James having to provide help and stop a lob to a 7-foot Walker Kessler. It's GG's every time. The second reason why this starting lineup can't take the Lakers anywhere is because of the amount of defensive liabilities on the perimeter. If you saw my last video, I talked about how the Lakers have to go to small ball in order to win in this league. Alex Len came out starting the second half and immediately got exposed. The Jazz elite spacing opens up the middle of the court and creates a lack of help defense available. But the help defense that is available is Austin Reaves, who's not a great defender, and Luka Doncic, who is a terrible defender. So what does that give you? A wide open drive for Isaiah Collier on a slow-footed big man. Someone on the defensive end is always going to make a mistake when it comes to this lineup. Jordan Clarkson's isoing on Austin Reaves, and this is okay. Austin plays good defense, good stunt by Rui Hachimura. Luka helps as his defender's cutting, but LeBron fails to get out of his tag to the defender. He gambles, and boom, immediately the 5-on-4 on the backside. Rui Hachimura has to help on John Collins because Luka has to pick up Walker Kessler, and it creates an open 3 for Lauri Markkanen. Rui Hachimura is the Lakers' best lateral defender in this starting lineup, and just watch this play.
Is he working his magic against Hachimura?
If that's the best perimeter defender in your lineup, then you're not winning a championship. So we made it clear that putting out a lineup with multiple defensive liabilities in each position is not a recipe for success. But the Lakers have the ability to do something no other NBA team can do. Just by shifting around their chess pieces, they can transform their starting lineup into a defensive masterclass. This is the Lakers' new death lineup. Gabe Vincent, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Rui Hachimura. Simply switching out Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith for Austin Reeves and Jackson Hayes propels this team all the way to second in the league in defensive field goal percentage, putting them in a category with the Thunder, Celtics, Cavs, Grizzlies, and Rockets. Now this lineup has two main benefits. The first one being small ball. Now I know this might sound crazy to you, but I'm gonna say it. This lineup is synonymous with the Warriors' small ball death lineup from 2016. If we actually compare the two, each lineup had one defensive liability, one perimeter lockdown, one 1-5 lockdown, and two solid defenders. Now I'm only looking at this from a defensive perspective, so forget the offensive end for now. We'll get to that later. And look, I'm not counting on the Lakers lineup being more dominant than that Warriors death lineup, but the point is it follows the same formula of what works in the past from an archetype standpoint. Without Jackson Hayes or Alex Len on the court, opposing offenses can't structure their game plan around targeting the slowest footed player on the court. Yes, Luka Doncic has proven to be a cone on defense like I said earlier, but if the Lakers do decide to switch everything, Luka has proven to be a capable defender when he wants to be. Unlike Alex Len or Jackson Hayes, who just don't have the ability on the perimeter, Luka can sit in the chair and slide his feet. All right, we've seen him do it. He just doesn't like to. And if Luka does get targeted, unlike the current starting lineup, this one has elite help defense. Gabe Vincent and DFS are tops in the league in defensive field goal percentage, and they live in the gaps. And sure, a dominant big man on an opposing team could try to feast on Rui Hachimura and DFS, or maybe LeBron in the paint, but we're okay with that because we'd rather give up contested twos than double and give up wide open threes. Reason number 2 for why this lineup would win us a championship is star power off the bench. First thing you probably noticed about this new lineup is that it doesn't include Austin Reeves. That was the first thing I noticed when I made it up. And while I do think that Luka, LeBron, and Austin can be an elite trio on the offensive end, I even made a video about it, I won't deny the defensive liability that the three of them provide in the same lineup. Even though Austin is my guy, and probably yours too if you're watching this video, we have to accept that the three of them can't be on the court for long periods of time together because of the defensive end. But with that said, I believe putting Austin off the bench is what's best for this team anyways. We know Austin is most dominant with the ball in his hands, and unlike the narrative people try to push, he's still a useful player even when it's not in his hands, and that's why the three of them do work together. And just because he comes in with the second unit doesn't mean we'll see a big decrease in his minutes, and it also doesn't mean he won't ever play with LeBron and Luka. It just means that he'll be able to give our lackluster bench production a big boost and be able to have the ball in his hands a lot more. This move extrapolates the value out of Austin Reeves at a way higher rate than if he's playing third fiddle to two ball-dominant players. And look, trading D'Lo was great for the Lakers, but it did eliminate our main source of bench scoring. So, by moving Austin to the bench and not really decreasing his minutes, he'll be able to give us that much-needed spark with Vando, Dalton, and Jackson, and he'll still be finishing games for us and playing plenty of time with our two other stars. So, I don't think JJ Redick could stick with the starting lineup much longer, and that's mainly because we have the personnel to make it so much better. A lot of teams throughout the NBA have terrible starting lineups and can't do anything about it, but we can. And in making those changes, we're not sacrificing anything. The changes help us on offense and defense, and they help us balance our scoring throughout our entire 9-man rotation. So JJ Redick, you really need to make this change in order for your team to succeed. I know you're not watching this video because, like, why would you? But that's just my thought, and when I realized how big of an actual difference this lineup would make, I had to shed some light on it. So, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more Lakers content, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.